Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Listen, leftoids, I know that you're distraught, you're heartbroken over this news, but at the end of the day, this was always going to happen. This clown world fantasy that you live in can only exist by fascist means. And what I mean by that is the only way that these kind of insane rules and policies, these woke social standards can exist, is if they're enforced, literally by force. And particularly on this issue, the only way the left is going to win on the issue of inserting biological males, or really just males, into female sports is by using tactics of intimidation, by writing new laws and enforcing these laws with police force. Because clearly, regular people, parents, soccer moms, are just not gonna have it. This is what I've been saying from the start. Eventually, mama bears are gonna be fed up, and once you piss off the suburban mother in the world of politics, in the world of culture, it's pretty much game over for you. And that seems to be exactly what we're seeing. Just the other day, we covered a tragic story, frankly a heartbreaking story. To me, that's what's heartbreaking, not this story, of a young female student athlete losing her chance to move on to the state championship because she was bounced off the third place spot at the podium by a trans athlete, a male competing in the female sector. Well, now the follow-up, the state championship happened, and both male athletes were a no-show. And of course, that's not surprising at all considering the public backlash. Where did you think this was gonna go? Is really the question that most people should be asking themselves. Let me show you guys what I mean. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, take a look at the headline right over here. Transgender high school athletes no-show at state track championships following backlash. Two transgender female high school athletes were no-shows for their race at the California State Preliminary Track and Field Championship on Friday, a week after they clinched a spot in the elite race. Athena Ryan from Sonoma Academy and Lorelei Barrett of Sherman Oaks Buckley opted not to participate in the scheduled girls 1600-meter run at Buchanan High in Clovis, California, according to the Los Angeles Times. The CIF is disappointed for two of our student athletes and their families because, due to the actions of others, that is absolutely awful English, but let's continue, they found it necessary to withdraw from the state track and field championships out of concern for the students' well-being. The California Interscholastic Federation, the governing body for high school sports in California, wrote in a statement to the outlet. The CIF expressed that the organization strongly denounces discriminatory or harassing behaviors. Now, the way they're trying to paint this narrative is absolutely unacceptable. They're doing the same shtick that these leftoids always do. It's discrimination. These students are just victims of harassing behavior. That is not what is going on. Not even remotely close. These students are competing in a space where they have an unfair advantage, and you simply have concerned parents and protect female sports activists showing up and making their voices heard. This harassing and discriminatory behavior that they're referring to is this. Literally just a couple parents holding up a sign. These are not bigots. These are not terrible people. These are not people that are harassing these biological male students. This is a simple protest. This is a constitutionally protected right. And they're doing it in a very amicable, very respectful manner. In fact, the student herself, as we showed in the clip for the last video, even she technically showed a sign of protest, standing in that fourth place spot at the podium, flashing a thumbs down, clearly not looking very happy.
In fifth place is already valued at the time of 1:12.03, Rihanna Lee. In fourth place from Branson High School at the time of 1:11.17, Adeline Johnson.
You know, it's the same thing what the Protect Women's sports advocates are doing, and what that young girl on the podium did is the exact same thing. It's a protest, a peaceful protest, a raising of one's voice, raising concern on an important issue. It's not terrorism, it's not bigotry, it's not harassment. It's people raising concerns of a clearly unfair situation for the young women. I don't want to get into these students specifically involved in this situation. I don't want to go after anyone, but in all of these cases, you have to either be physically or ideologically blind to not see this as an issue. You compare these young female athletes to the biological males that are entering these spaces, and just visually you can tell that it's unfair. Thicker legs, thicker muscles, wider shoulders, less wide hips. Clearly there's a physical and biological advantage that's, well, being taken advantage of here. These young male athletes were nowhere near competitive in the male space, and then all of a sudden they start competing as females, and they're competing for state championships. And we're supposed to sit here and pretend as if that's okay, pretend as if that's totally normal. No, it's not. And it should not be accepted. You want to make a third genderless category? Go for it. Leave women's sports alone. Full stop, period. This isn't a case of bigoted parents making an unsafe environment for young victimized students who are just trying to compete. The path that we're currently on is the clear, obvious route. This is how it's gonna be. And male athletes entering this space have to understand that. You have to understand that your existence in these female spaces, as you enter female sports and BTFO the female competition, is going to be protested. It's going to be met with public outrage. It's going to be a headline, probably front page news across the country on major publications. It's pretty much par for the course. And the idea that that outrage is unjustified, wrong, bigoted, or harassment is simply not the case. It's more a case of you're walking into it. You're bringing it upon yourself. I'm 6'3", 230 pounds. I'm physically stronger than most female athletes can get. You know, let's say I was playing recreational sports. If I was to join a male beer league of any sort, that'd be fine. But let's say all of a sudden I was to identify as a woman, go on estrogen for a year, and join a female recreational league. Let's say I was to play hockey, and all of a sudden I'm smashing women into the boards and completely dominating the competition. Most people would not be okay with that. Why? Because it's wrong. It's frankly bullying. If I was to do that, it would be met with public outrage. And that wouldn't be other people's fault for being outraged. That would be my fault for engaging in those types of actions by crossing that line. It's clear common sense. And that's why I would never do that. Because clearly it's wrong, and I know it's wrong. And it doesn't take a freaking PhD in gender studies to know that it's wrong. What's happening in these situations is the exact same thing. It's literally exactly what I just described. But for some reason, we're supposed to buy into the gaslighting. We're supposed to feel scared to speak out. The media is going to work overtime to create this victimhood narrative, as if these male athletes entering female spaces are really just being victimized. All they want to do is compete. And we're supposed to take it and feel scared and intimidated to speak out about something that is clearly incorrect, something that is clearly morally wrong. No. And that's what I was saying in the intro. The only way this type of policy, this type of cultural standard can work is by gaslighting, by intimidation, and public shaming. It's not going to happen. People are clearly fed up. Leftoids are trying to pretend as if these young male athletes are the victims here. But again, it's impossible to buy that narrative when you think about the young female athletes who didn't get to make it to the state championship when they earned that spot in the first place. I feel bad for those girls not going to the championship, not the male students who didn't show up because of the public outrage and protest. And that's the standard. That's also what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, you know we'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.